Okay, so people always ask me why I keep harping about this cost of living adjustment thing. They're always like, "Hey man, what's the deal?" And I have to give a big update on that too. But the point is, I wanted to explain it. Now, something I need to do at the beginning of all of my videos. Howdy. I'm Attorney Walter Hnot, the most viewed and subscribed to disability attorney in America. Howdy. Now, the reason I always get so uppity and cranky and excited about the cost of living adjustment is because there's this group called the Senior Citizens League. They do great work. From their report by Mary Johnson, Social Security Policy Analyst, the Senior Citizens League, May of 2023, it's when it's produced, right? Title to it is 2023 Social Security Loss of Buying Power Study, right? What we're studying here is how much money extra should you be getting each month? That's what we're studying here. The whole thing is how much extra money should you essentially be getting each month? And I'm glad to see Slatherings has been waiting for this. That's awesome. Let's get right to it. Here's the summary. Soaring inflation over the past 2 years, and remember, their prior report didn't have a whole thing on the inflation in detail like this one does. So this is awesome. So soaring inflation over the past 2 years has deeply weakened the buying power of Social Security benefits, particularly for the oldest and disabled adults who have received benefits the longest. This latest research on the buying power of Social Security benefits finds that older adults who retired before 2000, now age 85 and older, have lost 36% of their buying power and would need an extra. Here's the important part. Would need an extra $516.70. Again, $516.70 more per month. Okay. So the bottom line is that means they should be getting in total per year $6,200 more in 2023. So here's my point with this. When you look at the presidents, right? Bill Clinton, Bush's, Obama's, Trump's, all of them, to the Bidens, they know about this. This BS about this cutesy $1,200, $400, $600, $1,400, $2,000 stimulus, that's BS compared to the purchasing power of $6,200 more in 2023, totaling $516.70 per month. Okay. So as you can see, there's a problem. And just so you guys know, this is directly from their website. Incredibly important stuff. It's an amazing group that does this. Now, inflation is moderating, but a lower inflation rate has not necessarily meant that prices have decreased. You guys have seen it. They keep raising prices because they know we got to pay it, right? You go to your grocery store, they know you go in there, you got to buy it anyways. This study confirms that the prices older consumers are paying simply are not growing as fast as a year ago, but many prices on key items remain stubbornly high through February 2023. On the other hand, the declining rate of inflation points to a significantly lower COLA for next year after the 8.7% COLA in 2023, which was the highest in the past 4 decades, and was probably actually, if calculated based on the old numbers, higher than Jimmy Carter's worst year, because, Biden's basically tracking like Jimmy Carter. Now, the buying power of the Social Security benefits can erode when the annual cost of living adjustment, COLA, fails to keep pace with the rising costs. So you go in, butter, a little more expensive, a lot more expensive, a lot more expensive. Every month it seems to go up. But in some years, buying power can improve modestly when inflation moderates. 1 year ago, this study found that the Social Security benefits lost 40% of buying power since 2000. That was the deepest loss in buying power since the start of the study in 2010. This year, the study found that the loss of buying power slightly improved by 4 percentage points to 36%. However, that is still one of the deepest losses recorded by this study, exceeded only by 2022. To measure this loss of buying power, this study compares the growth in the COLA since 2000 with changes in the price of 38 goods and services typically used by retirees. okay, over the same period. So basically, they look at 38 goods over a 3-month period, July, August, September. Oh, thank you, Shirley, for the $1.99 donation. Super cool with the red thumb. Excellent, excellent. Very cool. Very cool, very cool. Awesome. So here's the thing. This year, buying power was most impacted by sharp increases in food, electricity, rental housing, a 16% increase in the cost of dental care, as well as repair and maintenance costs of motor vehicles. Now, as you guys know, the way the system is working, renting a house, renting a room, an apartment, a townhome, or whatever, is becoming exponentially more expensive than just buying the damn thing. Motor vehicles, getting repairs done, and to be fair, this is one of those things that's going to more negatively impact women than men, because men will go out and buy the part for the most part, because it's just culturally a difference that happens in the United States. But this is going to hurt females more than it is men with these ridiculous maintenance costs that are occurring on these cars. Cars are not made to last. They're made to fail at certain points with certain items. So they're designed that way. And it really screws over those people who are sitting there going, oh, I wish I had that extra warranty that they would have, could have, should have, and wanted to sell you. Topping our list of fastest growing items, eggs. In fact, no other spending item beat eggs or grew faster during the survey reference period, which compared price ranges from March 2022 to February 2023. Here are the major findings from this report. Social Security benefits are adjusted annually for inflation to protect the buying power of a beneficiary from those rising prices. Without an accurate cost of living adjustment that keeps pace with rising costs, beneficiaries will lose purchasing power, especially over the course of retirement that could last 25 to 30 years. This loss is cumulative and grows deeper as retirees age. So the longer you're alive, the worse it gets for you. It can cause significant hardships, including more rapid depletion of savings than expected, growing debt, and worse health outcomes. In short, inadequate COLAs result in a significant deterioration in an older household's standard of living. You always hear me talking about that and bitching about the standard of living. Where's the line? Why are we always downsizing? Why does this country not support all of its Americans that work so hard, that promises them retirement? Why does America make Americans work so hard and then start threatening them with making them retire farther down the line when they're 70 years old? Why does America treat the thing that it borrows the most money from so badly? You think China owes us a lot of money? China owes us around $1 trillion. They owe the American people trillions upon trillions upon trillions. They borrow against our work product. Between January 2000 and February 2003, Social Security's COLAs increased benefits by 78%, averaging 3.4% annually. But the cost of goods and services purchased by typical retirees went up by 141.4%, averaging about 6.2% annually over the same period. So they gave you 78%. It actually cost 141.4%. They gave you 3.4% per year. It actually cost per year 6.2% annually. For every $100 a retired household spent on goods and services in 2000, that household can only buy about $64 of worth today. So when everybody's out there arguing about this, where's my fourth stimulus? I want my fourth stimulus. When they're just shaking their little fists, I want my fourth stimulus. It's pennies. It's Beanie Baby money. All right. It's not okay. We're talking about like starter set Pokemon money. We're not talking about what actually matters here. This isn't it, right? This is like when the forced. Oh, okay. So all right, $1,200 versus literally $1,200. You could get a check versus essentially $516.70 per month more. Around $6,200 more in 2023. I mean, 6,000 plus is more than 1,000. You know what I mean? It's like 6 times. You know what I mean? So my point with this is, and I think this is so incredibly important. A properly managed government. And let's keep in mind here, Biden didn't have an easy situation coming out of COVID. So you knew there was going to be inflation. Whether the inflation had to be as bad as it was, that's to be determined. But you knew there was going to be a problem. The point I'm getting at here is that we shouldn't have an oil and distribution problem for fuels, right? And I don't want to be the mean guy here, but there's no reason why diesel should cost more than gasoline. There's tons of it out there. It's easier to refine. It's easier to store. It's easier to transport. It's easier in every single category that makes it cheaper to go from wherever it needs to come from to being in the gas tank, right? That diesel tank on that tractor, that truck, that semi, that whatever, to get in the gas tank of that, right? It's way cheaper, but you know why it's more? It's more because of one simple thing. Truckers got to buy a lot of it. It's a paycheck to fill up a semi. It is. Think of, okay, so let's say, okay, so guys, I'm going to ask you a question. How many people in the chat section drove semi trucks? Just let me know. How many people in the chat section drove semi trucks? Okay, and let's see, how many gallons does it take to fill up a semi truck? Okay, takes about 135 gallons, 2 tanks. So we're looking at 150 gallons, so around 300 gallons. All right, so we got 300 gallons, right? Cool. Marjan, USA, very cool. Thank you for the 99-cent donation. Super appreciate it. That's awesome. So what we're looking at is 300 gallons to fill up a semi with 2 diesel tanks. You always see them, the big round, chromed out things on the left and the right side. They always look good. Some of them are stainless. Most of them are just chromed out. Here we go. Let's look at average diesel price. Okay. Looks like everywhere I see it, it's above 4. I haven't seen it below 4. So let's see. AAA gas prices average 382 to 422. It's not 382. I've never even seen it that low for a while. No, it's like 4. All right, so we're going to put it at like 410. All right, so what we're going to do is use the calculator. 300 gallons times 410 equals $1,230. $1,230. That's a disability check right there. That's more than an SSI check. You couldn't fill up. You couldn't with that. You $914. You couldn't fill up a semi to go and work with that amount. So the point that I'm getting at here is that they have price played with the system. Now, the ultimate problem of this whole thing is that there are very few tractors that run on gasoline. Like the little stuff, the little crap that they sell at like Home Depot and Lowe's and stuff like that, that runs on gasoline. And they sell a lot of that junk. But real tractors, the tractors that actually make product from fields, not like I'm going to mow my grass because I think it's cute when it looks green. The real tractors, right? The ones that have ag tires and industrial tires, stuff like that. The real tractors that you have, the Kubotas and the New Hollands and, the Yanmars and all the John Deere, the biggies, those tractors all run on diesel. Okay. So my point to you is we really need a strong economy, because a strong economy boosts our bond market. And we need to figure out how much of our bond market we need to put into different structured securities to increase the outcome of making the money we pay in FICA taxes, because 9 to 10 year, for the trust fund to run out, it's scary. It's horrific. And everybody tells me the same thing. Don't worry, man. Don't worry, Walt. It's all going to be good. The politicians, they'll fix it right when it needs to be fixed. And I always argue the same thing. When is that? You got 2 presidential terms before the benefits run out. That's it. You got to wait another year, and then you got 2 presidential terms, and then there's a year, and then the benefits run out. You got 2 presidential terms. Sharon Furman, thank you. Super appreciate it. That's awesome. Thank you for the $20 donation. That's super big and super awesome. Love little pair. Very cool. So the point that I'm getting at with this is we need a strong economy, and we need to make diesel and we need to make gasoline very cheap as we transition over to this electric feature. But one thing that's going to be very harsh to this whole situation is that farmers buy a tractor, and the tractor is expected to last between 30 and 50 years. In fact, there's a 1981 tractor that's about 100 feet from me right over there, Kubota L Series, that we use every single day. And as a result, and you saw the prior video where I explained that I'm highly injured right now because the brakes broke on it. I went down a black diamond trail worth of a slope, and now I'm basically internally bleeding on my back. But the point is, with that whole issue, that tractor had to tow my little tractor up the hill with the trailer on the back, which is always embarrassing. I hate when I have to do that, because then you're just like sitting there like this. You're just like, so they had to come pick me up at school. So point is, we have to make fuel super cheap. And the problem is because, tractors are more expensive. But by the way, I don't know if you guys know this, but a lot of tractors that like do real farm work, they're all more expensive than the average car. Like if the average car is like 35 grand, the average tractor that does real work new is like 70-ish, 80-ish, 90-ish. I mean, you could get a small front loader for less, like 40, 50, right? Maybe you get it used, maybe like 30K. But the point is, like, these tractors, they're going to be using diesel for a long time. So when they have this expectation of like, hey, we're just going to take the super tankers and put a bunch of Tesla batteries in it that were powered by coal, man, shit's cool. Everything's going to work out. It's just not realistic. That's just not what's going to happen. We have to have diesel be cheap and gasoline be cheap for a long time. And one thing that I think that's very important, and I think that's one thing that the American public does very poorly on, and I think this is so important to realize, the driving of cars, like that's what people always think about with like gasoline. And now they're doing the whole thing with the ovens, basically, you have to have like an electric, yada. But the point here is this: people driving on highways with their car or their SUV is a relatively not massive part of essentially where massive engines, massive turbines are actually using up fuel and diesel. Okay, so let me give you an example. Okay, let's say average tanker. Okay, how many gallons does the average tanker boat hold? Okay, so a GP tanker can carry between 70,000 barrels and 190,000 barrels of motor gasoline, which is 3.2 to 8 million gallons. And an MR tanker can carry between 190,000 barrels and 345,000 barrels. That's 8 to 14.5 million gallons of gasoline. Hold on. How many gallons are used on a tanker to go across the Atlantic? Okay, ships in that size range can carry actually used. Okay, so it depends on the sailing. Let's see. Hold on. Let me see if I can find the answer real quick, because this is important. Most ship engines have been designed for top speeds ranging from 20 to 25 knots per hour, which is pretty fast. It's actually pretty fast for a big boat, which is between 23 and 28 miles per hour. A Panamax container ship can consume 63,000 gallons of marine fuel per day at that speed. Let me just run that by you again. 63,000 gallons of marine fuel, which is either going to be diesel or heavy fuel. Heavy fuel is super dirty when it burns. But 63,000 gallons of marine fuel per day at that speed. So when you're sitting there and you're like, am I going to drive my car to Walmart and back? Just remember that tanker at speed is using 63,000 gallons that day. Okay. So just keep that in mind. And how many tankers are going back and forth, right? How many airplanes, which require a very different fuel option? How many jets, which require a very different fuel option, are required each day? So my point is, it all comes back to farmers. If farmers can't put cheap fuel in their tractors to make that giant rumbling machine get from point A to point B while hauling something that's got to dig up the earth, mow the grass, cut down whatever, then guess what? If they don't have their baling machine working cheap, that cost is the same thing as a tax on you. Because remember, farmers, they're in it to make money. They're not doing this because they're doing charity. If a farmer has a higher cost of running that machine, that is a new tax on you. Just is what it is. So anyways, guys, I will catch you at the next video where I'll be answering questions. I'm going to take a little bathroom break, and then we will go right to that. I mean, yeah, Charlton's on. It'd be awesome if we had nuclear powered trucks and trains and ships, and to some degree we have some of those, but the reality is this: what we need is cold fusion. That's thermos bottle size. What is thermos bottle size? Thermos bottle size is this, right? Look at that: love, sweetie, and shadow, right? Well, it's actually shadow and sweetie. The point is, okay, point is, if we could achieve fusion, which is the same thing a hydrogen bomb works on, if we could achieve fusion, that kind of energy in something that size, which we've already achieved fusion. We're not at the point in which the reactor is making lots of energy and it's awesome and it's working. But if we can achieve it in that size and it's cold, it's not a hot, fiery mess that's just miserable, then there's not going to be any point for batteries. Okay, that's another thing. I don't know if you guys are studying the science of this thing. I don't know if you're like into it, but I'm into it because who doesn't love, energy needs of the human race? The point is, if you have unlimited energy, fusion in something this size or even smaller, you no longer need batteries. You don't. You just need some sort of capacitor transit. You need something that's going to pare the energy down to the component that needs that itty bitty little bit of actual power. Now, how many of you guys remember the old light bulbs? And now we have the LED light bulbs. And the next thing that we'll have will be some sort of, quasi quantum bulb, right? It'll just make energy even better. The point that I'm getting at is every step of the way, let me tell you something. This cute little itty bitty microphone from Shure, not a great microphone, not a bad microphone, run of the mill microphone. I use it because it's whatever. But I like microphones, super into microphones. This little microphone is powered off of a single USB-C cable. That's it. But when I do that microphone shootout where I show you the top of the line microphones that I'm able to get a hold of, some of them are lent to me. Bottom line, they have these giant power supplies. Technology marches forward. It requires less energy to run and do the same thing that it, took before. If you go back to the earliest microphones that were really used, and we're talking about World War II era, the CMV microphones, the RFT microphones, okay, those microphones had this giant power supply that was just obnoxious. You turn the thing on, you got to move it away from the microphone because it makes everything buzz. There was no proper shielding for that stuff. So the point is, okay, we just keep making things require less power. If you can get something to the point where you can create a spaceship that can do, and honestly, you want to know what the future of the spaceships are? It's very simple. They had this one submersible. They took it to every single deep spot everywhere. Okay. It was made out of a lot of stuff, but I think it was polymer. That was the main thing. But no, maybe an acrylic. I'm not sure. Let me see what it was. I'll tell you exactly what it was. It was depth rated at any depth rated submersible. Let me see if I can find this thing. The only submersible ever to be certified to unlimited depth, the Triton 36,000/2, has opened the doors for humanity to dive to any part of the world's oceans. Okay, so let's do this. What is this made of? Right? Okay, cabin has space for 2 passengers, 11 kilometers below the ocean surface. The pressure is about 1,000 bar. As a conventional submersible would burst under that pressure, the Triton 36,002 was constructed with titanium walls that are 90 millimeters thick. Okay, how thick is 90 millimeters, right? 90 millimeters in inches, because, we use inches, okay? That's a 3.54 inch thick titanium wall, right? You're sitting in basically a 3.5 inch around you thick bubble. Okay. The point is, when we can make spaceships and have thermos bottle fusion, and we already know now how to create protein powders out of hydrogen, which is one of the things we got over the past 3 years, then you could essentially travel in space and live in space, so long as you had a way to get the waste of the human out of the spaceship. So, which we already have, we know how to do that. So the point is, this whole like, how are you going to live on Mars? We actually have most of the technology needed at this point to do that. So it's really cool. We're going in the right direction. All right. I will see you guys at the next video where I answer questions. I may have to stop it early because I am injured. I will catch you guys there. Please remember to like, subscribe, and leave a review. I always love those 5 stars. Disability Resolution Law Firm, Disability Resolution Florida, on Google, and then basically write a review. I will catch you guys in the next video. Give me about 10 minutes and we'll go from there. Thanks so much, guys. Bye-bye, guys. Bye-bye.